Okay. Sorry about that, you guys. Oh my goodness. All right, so it is March 3 at 3 p.m. And is there a significance to this show being aired today at this time? Well, I believe so, because nothing just happens, right? There is a reason for everything happening. There are certain truths that exist beyond the intellect. Hello, Marilyn. They are mystical. They inspire a sense. Prophet Mother is here of mystery and wonder. Let me say it again. There are certain truths that exist beyond the intellect. They are mystical. They inspire a sense of mystery and wonder. The number 3 means something. Pythagoras, he postulated that the number 3 had major significance. It is considered the perfect number. It represents harmony, wisdom, and understanding. 3 is also the number of time: past, present, future, birth, life, death, beginning, middle, end. It is the number of the divine. If you're seeing 3s around you right now, it means that it's your time to expand. It's time for growth and expansion in your life's travel. So, something to think about at this particular time of 3 at 3 p.m. on this particular day, in this particular hour. How are you being called to expansion in understanding of inner harmony, wisdom, creativity, maximizing your presence in the earth? You're being called to reflect on these things right now and begin to make adjustments. So big up yourself, kings and queens. If you know you are an original, big up yourself. It's Women's History Month. Big up yourself, all women everywhere. I'm about to take a sip of champagne for women everywhere. Yes, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Winsome Alexander, also known as the Big Sister. I am a self-empowerment mentor and advocate for survivors of trauma. I'm certified in crisis intervention, and I've been nominated one of Texas's inspiring women. On this channel, we bring you human interest stories. We care about you as a person. We're interested in your inner world, and we want to help foster your emotional stability through healthy self-esteem. Right? And if this resonates with you, you're invited to subscribe to the channel, be a part of our growing community of healers and healing. Turn on the notification bell, like, comment, share, subscribe, and again, welcome. Let's see. Today we have a 60-year-old woman who is going to take us on a journey. She is a person who seeks a deep union with the divine through contemplation and self-surrender. She is a human in deep connection with her spirituality. I want you to relax, let go, and just be in the moment with Mar. I want you to support her as she shares Be present, drop your comments, and ask your questions. Welcome, Mar. And as I bring her on, let me also welcome you. And hi, Mar.
Hi. Hello. Hello.
Today,
Let me check the sound. I switched to the Bluetooth instead of the connected. How is the audio for you?
you sound great.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
sound
So,
great.
yes.
Okay, wonderful. So let me say hello to the people who are joining us. All right, so we have Marilyn. Marilyn says, "Hey family." We have Prophet Mother, and she says, "Hi y'all, just hopped on over from our Black Utopia's channel." Okay,
Mm.
cool. Mother Christ says, "Hi everyone." Um, did I miss Kim? Kim Purnell says, "Greetings, beautiful souls. I'm Kim and excited to be here. Excited to have you." Alicia Renese, happy Sunday, beautiful people. Happy Sunday,
Hello.
Alicia. Here's all the women. Yes, yes. Alicia, the artist, happy Sunday. Yes, cheers, Marissa, Alicia. Greetings. Yes. Hello, hello, everyone. Okay.
Mm.
So, just before we begin, my sisters, let us stop and take 3 deep breaths to settle our minds and be present. Breathe in and out 3 times. Deep breaths are like little love notes to your body. Use them as often as you can. Mar, how are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you. I feel so honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, when you asked for the deep breath, the wind picked up just for the breathing section. Yeah. Ah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Beautiful.
So I'm guided to suggest for people who are tuning in, um, suggest that you not be operating anything, not be doing anything else. Sound has the effect of stimulating the pineal gland, which puts you into a trance-like, relaxed state. And if you're driving a car, that's not the time to be in a relaxed state. Yeah. So maybe watch afterwards, not the live, but watch afterwards. So,
Okay.
ah,
So, Mar,
hmm.
tell us about your name.
Ah, oh, okay. Well, to tell you about La Mar, I would first have to tell you about Badra. In December of 2018, this is after I had to leave the house, and I was every week or 2 weeks I would go and stay with one girlfriend, and then go and stay with another one because it was so cold in Asheville, North Carolina, that I couldn't stay in the tent. And so I was staying with a girlfriend, and Spirit told me that I would be getting a new name, and that one of my girlfriends would be the one to tell me. Because at this point, around the age of 55, I started attracting these women with intuitive abilities, who were seers, who were dreamers. Um, they had just different they just had different powers, and they started to circle with me. And so one of those women, she was dreaming, and the name came to her in the middle of the night, and she got up and she said she had to write it down because it was a foreign name. She'd never seen it before. and it's Bhadra, Bajra, which is a Hindu word, and it can mean millet or it can mean thunderbolt. And so we just decided that Spirit was probably guiding me that Thunderbolt was my name. So for almost 2 years, my name was Bhadra. And then it was time for that to change. And I was in Isla Contadora. And the man that I was in a relationship with at the time, he's also an intuitive. And it it was a combination of spirit guiding me and saying that it was time to leave Bhadra, and that Mar would be a much easier name for people. And Mar in the Kuna language, the indigenous people of Panama, Mar means thunderbolt, lightning bolt. And La Mar also means the spirit and the essence of the ocean. And because I'm very attached to both, that's my name. That's the name that I got. And please take into account that I was not someone for spiritual names. I had been in the spiritual community for almost 30 years and I poo pooed on spiritual names. I thought it was people trying to, reach for things that weren't there. And then I ended up with a spiritual name. Yeah.
It's interesting how Baja and Mar mean the same thing,
Yes. But in
right?
two different languages. One in Hindu and one in Kuna.
That's amazing to me. So
Mhm.
you are meant to be Mar. Actually,
Yes.
you are meant to be Baja for that space of time that you were Baja, and now
Right.
you're meant to be Mar.
Right. And it's also significant in the sense that it's also a link to Mary Magdalene. I have some energetic link with Mary Magdalene. So, yeah. So it also means that it's that connection as well.
Okay. Now, can you tell
Ah,
us? Go ahead.
I'm just gonna wonder. Let's slow down for a
Go
moment.
ahead. Go ahead.
If we can just
Go ahead.
tune in. And everybody just have a sense of your physical body, really tuning in. If you're sitting down, feeling your hips on your chair. If you're standing up, feeling your feet, hopefully on the ground and not in a pair of shoes. Yeah, and connect. Yes. Ah, yes. Hmm. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yes. Now I feel like I'm completely here.
Yes. Does everyone feel that way? Does everyone feel that way? Do y'all feel like you're here now?
Hmm.
Alicia says, thank you so much for that.
Hmm. Hmm. And my teacher, one of my teachers this week reminded me that we are made of light and sound. And we have been programmed out of, conditioned out of our own sound. And our own sound is healing, our healing for ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
it helps you with pain, it helps you with emotions, it helps you when you feel overwhelmed. It's what did she say? It's a pressure valve. It's a release. Yeah. So yes, I'm here to
Thank you for
remind
that.
you about your own sound.
That's good because I've never actually thought about my own sound before.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
doubt that anybody else here today thought
Hmm.
about their own sound. Thank
Because
you.
we've grown up, we've been conditioned with the idea that it needs to be pretty.
Yeah.
We have to sound like Whitney Houston or else it doesn't count, you know?
Yes.
And just an ah is enough to relieve pressure, to help you with the feelings of overwhelm. Yeah? Just
Mm,
ah, just a deep breath through the nostrils and exhaling with sound over and over until you feel that release. Yeah.
mhm,
Mm.
mhm. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Ah,
Would you like to tell us where you're from and what brought you to this place?
where I'm at right now?
Yes. Where, yeah,
Well,
where you
well,
are
I
physically and where you are in your journey.
okay. So I was born in Jamaica, and Jamaica is a neighboring island to the Cayman Islands where I'm at. So my paternal line lineage comes from Jamaica. Um, I even forgot to look up the name of the town. Um, it's part of Maroon Town,
Hmm.
and then my maternal is from the Cayman Islands. So I'm presently back in the Cayman Islands, but there's been a lot of wandering in between.
Yes. Share. Go ahead and share. Feel free to share.
Okay, let's see. What comes to mind? Because you've written, that I'm a survivor of sexual trauma.
Yes.
So I lived a life of despair. And despair came to me starting at the age of 6 years old until I was 16 years old with different perpetrators. Some were related to me, some were friends of the family, um, but they were people that were supposed to be trusted. And I was raised in the era of children should be seen and not heard. Children need to be obedient. Um, my grandmother used to, have me go out and get the switch, take off a limb and take off the leaves so that she could punish me, so that she could reprimand me, so she could keep me in line. And um,
Didn't we call that beating? We said to
yes,
beat you. Just say
yeah,
the word. It was,
yeah,
we got
yeah,
beating.
yeah, we got beaten. And what it created in my personality is, I couldn't fight. I froze during moments like that. Um, I also learned how to fawn. I also learned how to try to be a pleaser because it started so early. Um, and just because it was my life journey to have, I didn't have a voice. And it's interesting, but at the same time, it's part of that mystical path where I go, I had no voice for most of my life. And then to find that that was one of my spiritual gifts was my voice. And, but it took a long time for my voice to come through. And so I started a healing journey when I was in my early 20s because it was obviously that I had attempted suicide twice by the time I was 17 years old. The first time when I was 11, and the second time I was 18 or 19. It was the summer before going off to college. And so it was obvious that healing was something that I needed. I used every coping mechanism that we are taught in society to use: drugs, alcohol, sex, relationships, travel, experiences, risky behavior. Um, I tried them all as a way of being able to survive. And starting in my early 20s, I became aware that I had this. Um, it wasn't called healing then. 40 years ago, it wasn't called healing. I thought the spirituality would be my way out of pain. So I started pursuing God and what is God and where to find God. And so that led me into multiple religions. It led me into Tibetan Buddhism. It led me into Siddha Yoga meditation. I was a seeker. I
We're
there
seekers.
was something within me that knew that there was a way to live in this life and that I could possibly find that way. When Maya Angelou, she has this famous quote that I won't be able to repeat verbatim, but it was talking about wanting to thrive and not just survive. And I really took a lot of faith in that, really, because she spoke to me, because I recognized within myself that all I was doing was surviving. I wasn't actually thriving. I would
Mm-hmm.
have high moments,
Mm-hmm.
but then I had extremely low moments,
Mm-hmm.
suffering from depression. That only in the last few months have I accepted that depression is part of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
PTSD is part of my journey. How could I not have
That's
PTSD?
powerful.
You
That's
know,
powerful. Mm-hmm.
and I had been judging, because we have a lot of judgment about mental illness. We want people to miraculously get better, but they don't want us to tell you about when we're doing bad. You
Right.
know, we're
Right.
supposed to tell the up story,
Right.
but They don't want to see us when we're down and we're
Right,
crying and we're in despair and it feels
right.
like, can it get any lower? They don't want that part of the journey. They want the turnaround.
Yes,
And my guidance has been to share it all.
yes.
And that's where I share it on YouTube and I share it on Instagram. And um, even though it feels extremely vulnerable at times, I trust the guidance that I've gotten, that that's what I'm supposed to do, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to let you
Beautiful.
talk a little bit. I'm going to let you talk.
I'm glad you're at a place where you can share so openly, because that's what drew me to you.
Mm,
Because I also am a person, and some of us here today, we do believe in the healing aspects of vulnerability. And we
mm,
do
mm.
believe that it is so important to share our stories, as that is an integral part of our healing. And
Right,
also, it encourages others to heal also in that way. So
right.
it takes
Yeah.
bravery, it takes courage to share like you share, but it is so important that you do. And
Mm,
so don't stop sharing. Those who need your story will find you, will connect with you. And your
mm.
sharing is making a difference for somebody. So
I hope,
don't stop. Don't stop.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is my hope. And I think that's also what was part of that decision to seek healing in my early 20s was I recognized that it was such a hard thing that I was about to do. You
Mm.
know, that to turn around um, so much that had been damaged in my formative years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, abandonment,
Mm-hmm.
my own self abandonment, because
Mm-hmm.
there you are as a child, and I would have the bell ringing in my head that this was danger, there was something wrong with this, but I was so frozen I couldn't do anything about it. And so instead of being able to live with the fact that I was being told that this was dangerous and I couldn't do anything about it, I just shut down the voice. So I
Yeah.
shut down my intuition. I abandoned my own intuition because I didn't know how to be able to speak up. I didn't know how to assert myself and say, this is wrong and I'm not going to do this. And I had such an attachment with my mother that my silence was what I felt was needed in
Yeah.
order to keep that relationship with her.
Yes.
And that damaged me more, you know?
Yes.
And so, um, coming back into myself, because I had to abandon my body as well. I couldn't control what was happening to it, so I would leave my body.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to come back into relationship with all parts of myself. And to do that is really, really difficult work, hard work, painful work. The rewards are enormous. The rewards are enormous because I risked leaving this life not knowing who I truly was. That was the big risk, that I would leave this life and not know who I truly was, other than trauma and the story of trauma. And in my early 20s, I said, if this benefits just one person, if my story benefits just one person, for me, it was worth it.
Yes.
Because at that time, I wasn't even worth it.
Yes.
I didn't know about any self worth for myself to say, I am worth this journey. But I could say, if I do this journey and it helps somebody else, then it's worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you touched on those points, because that's one of the reasons I do this show. I do this show because it actually helps me. It's my journey of recognizing myself, appreciating myself, uh, um, getting to know who I am and all that makes me up and all that I have to offer beyond a survivor of trauma,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
when you experience the kind of trauma that we've experienced, we lose ourselves. That is true. We lose ourselves and our self esteem gets shattered. So, this process of bigging up ourselves reminds us of who we are,
Yes.
right? Reminds us of what we have accomplished and what we have to
Bigging up yourself. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yeah, 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 yeah. Taking back everything that trauma took from you.
And there is so much more to us than trauma. But in order to get there, we have to go through it. I tried 4 years to go around it. I thought spirituality and meditation would take me around it, you know? Um, there wasn't a word trauma when I started. That
Right.
trauma was really something just related to physical,
Yes,
you know?
yes,
Somebody goes off to war or they have a car accident, an injury of some sort, and that's trauma, but the emotional wasn't considered at that time when I started. So for me, so many things came into play. Um, I was a person that I believed that, if you didn't have intuitive powers when you were from little, then you didn't have any, you
mm-hmm,
know, that it was
mm-hmm.
something that your gift was something that you had to know from your childhood. What I do remember up until I was a teenager, I would have a lot of, what do you call them? Deja vu.
Yes,
But,
yes,
I would, like, okay, great, God, this is a great power, but I don't know it until the moment is actually happening
right,
that
right.
I've seen this or experienced this before. And then slowly it disappeared. I gave less value to it, and so it disappeared. And then let me see, when I was 50, my son and I, we had been living in Italy for 7 years. There's a connection because my mother's husband is Italian, was Italian. And so I had been in my childhood living there at some points and then being in the Caribbean and then being in the US. But I wanted the opportunity for my son to have the experience of Northern Italy. And so we lived there for 7 years. And then we moved when I was 50, we moved to the US so that he could get himself ready for college. And at 53, I started going to a network chiropractic care.
Mm-hmm.
And network chiropractic care is all about energy. And it's not the chiropractor cracking your neck or any of that business. It's
Okay.
basically doing fine attunements along the spine. And you find over time that your spine and your body it will respond on its own. It will
Mm-hmm.
do its own adjustments. Your muscles release and tighten and all of that. And through going to network care, I started to energy started to open up bigger and bigger in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was starting at 53, and by 55, I all I want to do is meditate.
Mm-hmm.
I start changing my friends, which I'd been used to. I'd been used to life changes where your interests change, but I wanted to spend a lot of time alone. I wanted to be in meditation. I was meditating for hours at a time. A voice, I started hearing voices. I started having visions. The visions at first were very apocalyptic, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know whether it was referring to the past or whether it was referring to the future, but it was pretty devastating, the visions I was having. The voice in my head, I thought to myself, I can't tell anybody about this because then they'll think I'm schizophrenic, that I've lost my mind.
Right.
But fortunately, as I said, at 55, these intuitive women started to come and become friends with me. And I was also someone that was really difficult to make friendships because of all the wounding that I had
Right.
and the experiences of bullying as well. Because as a fawner, it was like I had it written on my head, you know?
Yes.
If anybody in school wanted to elevate themselves in the power structure, they would just come and beat me up or steal my lunch or ambush me in some way. So going to school, this is when I was in Bermuda, and they hated me because I was Jamaican. You know, the diaspora wars and the prejudices, and Bermuda being very colonized and still being very colonized. That that blackness, there's an anti-blackness flavor to what I experienced.
Mhm.
And so because of bullying, it was hard for me to make friends throughout my whole adult life, like
Right.
real sincere close friends. I would find myself oftentimes really devastated by women friends and how their meanness, you know,
Yes.
by the cliquishness, by
Mhm.
the, you're just not quite good enough. And I would always struggle to want to be good enough to be part of their group, right?
Mhm.
But miraculously, at 55, these women started coming around me
Mhm.
and they saved me, really. They let me know that my intuition wasn't evil. It wasn't something for me to be afraid of, that I wasn't going crazy, that I hadn't lost my mind, because they shared with me their own experiences with their intuition, you know? And, and so I learned, I started this journey where I was made to trust myself. Really, like I had been living with a certain amount of trust in myself, but I wouldn't say that it was unconditional. It
Yeah.
wasn't. And
Yeah.
instead, this practice became trusting myself unconditionally,
Mhm.
you know, really centering and focusing on my own guidance versus the guidance of other people,
Yeah.
really getting back into my body and realizing that my body is a guidance system, that it will activate and have sensations in it to let me know this is a yes or this is a no.
Mhm.
This is a lie and this is truth, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And along that journey, someone gifted me a drum. I'd
Yeah.
never played a drum before, but they, in their intuition, had made this drum especially for me and gifted it to me. And I was like, are you sure? Because I don't know anything about playing a drum. But I accepted the gift. And then I would get these guidances of, okay, pick up the drum. Just hit it a few times. You don't have to be good at it. It doesn't have to sound good. You don't have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Not now, you know?
Yes.
This is just practice.
Yeah.
And so then somebody else gave me a flute. He was an intuitive, and he said he had been guided to give me this flute. It was an American Indian flute. And I was like, I'd only played a recorder when we lived in Bermuda, but it had been a long time ago, right? So again, my intuition said, okay, pick up the flute, put all your fingers over the hole. Let's see what happens. And then when I didn't feel like doing it anymore, I'd put it down. Same thing with the drum. And I was guided on how to play the
Mhm.
flute as well as the drum, self taught. I wouldn't even say self taught because it was guidance taught. It wasn't that I said to myself, do it this way. No, I got received guidance to do it that way. And
Mhm.
I would feel this energy come into my body and really take over my hands. And so my whole body started to channel the movements for the flute, started to channel the movements for the drum. It started to channel sound. That was another thing that started to come to me, is that my breath got really expansive. I don't know, do you practice meditation?
I do. Hmm.
Okay. Have you had the experience in meditation where you feel as if you're being breathed? It's not like you're not intentionally doing it, it's like your body is expanding and breathing
I'm not at
and
that level yet.
contracting.
I'm not at that.
Okay. Okay. Well, keep practicing,
Okay.
because it will come where you find yourself that you will settle in and you will feel yourself being breathed. It's not something you're thinking about. And that breathing got more amplified, so that the breath got more amplified. And then one day in the kitchen, I'm still in the house in Asheville, and I realized that the breathing is trying to tell me something. Like I would think of something, like a question, and then all of a sudden my body would be would do these big dramatic breaths. And I realized it was trying to communicate and affirm what I was thinking or not. And so I started this thing. It was like my body was a Ouija board. And
Hmm.
so I said, okay, I would make a decision with my body, conversation with my body, and I'd say, okay, if it's a yes, breathe me really big. And if it's a no, then nothing, right? And so I would use yes or no questions. And inevitably, it was always correct, to the point where one day I went to go and visit a girlfriend to go and babysit. She'd just had her son a few months before, and her husband wanted to have a date. So I went to the house and they left, decided I wanted to take the baby out for a stroll. There was a park a few blocks away. Came out with the baby in the stroller, and I saw that it was overcast. And I was concerned. I didn't want to end up in the park and then the baby's exposed in the rain. And so I decided to ask, okay, can I go and walk with the baby?
Hmm.
And the answer was yes. And then I thought, oh, I need to be really specific. Will it rain on us? And there was no response. So I knew, okay, let's go. So we go, we walk 2 blocks, we get into the park. We walk over by the lake, see that for a little bit. And then we walk to go underneath this big tree. And I tell you, Winsome, as soon as we were underneath the tree, this huge deluge of rain came out, right? And I was in wonderment, I
Hmm.
was in gratitude, I
Hmm.
was in awe, I was in, I can't believe this is happening, that you can actually communicate with everything and everything tell you, okay, let's go this path, let's go right, let's go left. Just like in the Celestine Prophecy, which is one of those books that I read when I was in my early 20s. And that put me on a journey that I really wanted to discover if plants could talk, if
Ah.
plants make music. And it turns out trees make music and plants make music, you know?
Mm.
um, I wanted to discover, can you really, by sensing into your body, know where to go, what to do? A person will show up at the right time. You know, it
Hmm.
just seemed such a magical way of living. And
Hmm.
that's how I live now. That's how
Hmm.
I live now.
Ah, beautiful. You have some comments here in the you have Marissa saying this is so affirming because she mentioned earlier when you were talking about the sensations that come with meditating. She says it's the tingling when the message comes to me. And she says, wow. And then she says, this is so affirming. And
Yes.
Alicia with the
Yes.
little love note. And then H&D says, so much of this not knowing started in my 30s. Trust
Mm.
more in my 40s and creating space and time to listen in silence more and more in my
Mm.
40s. Mhm.
Mm. Mm,
Beautiful
mm,
story. Prophet Mother says,
mm.
"Wow, okay." Somebody said,
We are
"Taught to
powerful
fear." Yeah,
beings.
powerful. We are taught to fear our most sacred gifts, the
Yes.
impacts of colonization. Yes.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yes. And religion. Religion has done quite a bit to vilify the intuitive. We had the burning of witches for centuries, and that became a condition to shut us down, where we couldn't talk about it anymore. That's why, my first instinct when I started to hear the voice was to think I was going crazy,
Yes.
because we don't have a place for that. We haven't had a place for that in our
Hmm.
society. And spirit has guided me to be an out of the closet mystic. And at times it has felt really dangerous. It has felt like really dangerous. But it's really just about past life experiences, and also the fact that I'm connected with the collective. We've all been taught to fear um, our own intuition, to appear a certain way, or else we'll end up in a mental
Yes.
institution. And many people who are in mental institutions, they have been misdiagnosed,
Yes.
absolutely misdiagnosed.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree with that. I was talking to a friend the other day, Danielle. Oh my gosh. And she also is a mystic, and she confided to me that she's feeling a little bit like people are thinking she's crazy, and she
Mm,
wants to not appear that way. I said, Danielle,
mm,
lean into who you are. Be who you
mm,
are. Be
mm,
different. If you're being called to be different, be different.
mm,
Right? The people who
mm,
are to benefit from you being who you are will be drawn to you. Not everybody can walk this path that we walk. Some people just don't have it. They are not willing to surrender enough to be able to
mm.
understand some of these
Yeah,
mysteries,
yeah,
right? Some of
yes,
these mysteries defy the human intellect, the
yes,
supernatural.
yes, yes,
Not everybody
yes,
is there. And not
yes,
everybody is willing to go there.
yeah. And yeah, because it means you may have the judgment of your community, may have the judgment of your family. And what I will say, likely because of my age, because
Mhm.
my intuition started coming in at the age of 53, 54. So I had already lived a life of being practiced in pushing against being told who I should be, right? And how I should behave, and
Mhm.
how I should dress, and how I should speak,
Mhm.
and what I'm
Mhm.
not supposed to as a woman. I had
Mhm.
already been pushing down barriers. So for me, when my intuition came, you know, I remember the day that I had this visual. It's as if somebody knocked on my door and said, we've been searching for you our whole life.
Yes.
You got lost,
Yes, you
and you're actually royalty.
yes.
And we couldn't find you, you know? That's what it felt to me when my intuition came in.
Yeah.
And though there was also ego attached to that, because I had been inundated in such a world of worthlessness, that to have this energy come through me that made me feel special
Mhm.
was heady, was
Mhm.
incredible. Like,
Mhm.
how could one person who went through their whole life thinking that they were worthless and
Right.
unworthy actually turn out to be connected with the source of everything,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That's resonating.
yeah. And
That's
so
resonating.
yeah, it is a decision point. It is a decision as to, because the more you lean into your intuition, the more your intuition will open for you.
Mhm.
But the more you turn away from it, then the more it will close down, because that's what happened with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it started to shut down until I didn't have any sense that it actually existed.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when I started to have this energy moving through me, I was like, okay, this is for real. And wanting to know who I truly am was more important than the opinion of other people. That,
Yes. Wow, that's
yeah.
good. That's good. That's freeing. Let's see. Forever grateful. Let's see. Oh wait.
Mm.
It says the YouTube algorithm had no idea that it would bring such a powerful community together, but here we are. Yes, here we are. Alicia
Yeah.
Rich says, yes, this is so good. Yes.
Mm.
All right. Now,
Mm.
we need a moment.
Yeah. We can just breathe. Be in the body again. Be in the sensations of the body. Ah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes. Mm. Mm. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you for giving so much space to my
Yes.
sound.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
Ah,
know, I have to tell everybody listening that I sent you a message and said, I'm getting guidance that we should probably talk with each other before we actually do a live.
I know. I know. Yeah. But no, I'm not afraid of who you are. I'm not afraid of your story. I'm not afraid of your journey, right?
Thank
I
you.
give
Thank
space
you.
for us to be and to evolve. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Now, so Alicia says, right? About taking our time. She says, thank you for taking your time. It feels good to be. We
Mm.
don't get the chance to just be very often. We
Mm.
are so busy, so distracted. We don't get to be. And that is why we're not connected with our intuition and this guidance that can be ours.
Mm.
Prophet Mother says, I find it amusing and satisfying that science is finally backing up our ancestral wisdom. That's true.
Mm.
They're catching up. They're catching up.
Mm.
Kim says it feels good to be present, doesn't it?
Mm.
Oh, Kim says, Mar, I love that you smile while breathing. Oh, that's so healing, so healing. Marilyn is reminding us to like, share, subscribe to Mars YouTube channel, which is,
Mm.
she has the link right there 60 Black Mystic Traveler, right? Subscribe. Um,
60 solo black mystic traveler, I believe. I don't know. I can't remember. Do you? Do you have it?
60 solo, 60 solo Black Mystic Traveler.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm. Mm.
How free with Mimi says she is in awe right now. I think we all are. Uh,
Oh.
and Kim says, thank you, Mar. This feels so authentic. That's what we're about here.
Mm.
Authenticity.
Mm.
That's what we support
Mm.
here. We welcome your story and you, she says. Yes, he corrected it. 60 solo Black Mystic Traveler. Right.
Okay.
Yes, on IG. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Marissa Price says, this has already changed me. Wow.
Oh.
Amazing.
Oh.
Prophet
Yeah.
Mother says it's crazy to think about, especially in light of how demonized people have been for these practices, that they're now seeing the
Yes.
value in. That is so true.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
true.
Yes.
So,
Mm.
whether you believe it or not, those of you beyond this gathering that's watching this video, whether you believe it or not, there are certain truths that
Mm.
exist beyond the intellect. They are mystical, they inspire a sense of mystery and wonder. It's a season to contemplate esoteric things.
Mm.
Some of us can
Mm.
no longer rely on what you see with the naked eye.
Mm.
We now have to look beyond what's obvious to be able to exist in the world as it is today, right? It's a time to embrace your spirituality. It's a time to
Right.
search out all of who you are and be all of who you are. It's a time to be reconnect with the person that was originally created before trauma took you off course,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're here today, specifically today, it is not by happenstance and not by coincidence. You
Mm.
are meant to be here. It means this message is for you. This call to spiritual expansion is for you. You're being called to slow down,
Mm.
go inward, to contemplate the supernatural mysteries of who you are. You're too distracted by external stimulation. The demands of your life, the life that you created, that's not serving your higher good. You're being called to grab a hold of who you really are, who you're originally created to be. This is your call to go and find that person, and in so doing, expand your awareness of your mission and of your significance.
Mhm.
It's time to big up yourself, whatever you're called to do.
Yes, exactly. And I will also say that my guidance is to share that the importance of doing our trauma work, the importance
Mhm,
of learning how to emotionally process the
mhm,
trauma.
mhm.
Because as you emotionally process, that energy, that encrusted energy that is superimposed over who you really are, starts to lift off and lift off. And as that lifts off, your ability to tune into your intuition becomes greater and greater. And we are moving into tumultuous times. I think we probably on Earth has always been moving into tumultuous times, but never that we have had in our lifetime have we seen what is about to happen in the next
Yes,
years.
yes.
And if you aren't doing your work on your trauma, then you will be continually activated because they want you continually activated so that you are easily controllable.
Mhm.
When you tune into your intuition, that guidance within you will give you the information that you need to have, like what to do, how to prepare if you are to prepare, where to go. To I My days are centered around what is it that my intuition wants to do, and leaving that house and having all of that implode, and ended up in a tent for 2 years and going to India for 3 months and learning about trauma in 2020 and dedicating my healing. Like that was my priority. It wasn't working for somebody else. It wasn't paying any bills because I was not even employable. Emotionally, mentally, and physically, I couldn't show up in those environments any longer.
Yes.
And dedicating that time towards my healing has has brought me into myself, has
Yes.
brought me into full trust of myself, so
Mhm.
that I, other people's opinion is their opinion, and
Mhm.
I can process whatever emotions that come up because their opinion may be differing than how I see myself. But I trust myself completely.
Mm.
I spend my days going, what does my body want to do now? What is the next thing that I'm to do? And if I don't get any indication of anything, I'm just going to be.
Oh
I'm
my
going to
goodness.
sit until something wholeheartedly comes to me that is that thing for me to do, rather than keeping myself busy with things that stress me out, that I feel like it's not really what I'm supposed to be doing. I should probably do something else, but let me do all those other things. There's so much that we become free from this when we do emotional processing work, when we go into that storage of our subconscious, and it will come to you. Triggers come to you every single day, so there's an opportunity every single day to be emptying out your container of trauma, you know.
That's that surrender that is so elusive to me. I feel like my whole life quest has been that place of surrender
Mm.
because I am so ruled by anxiety.
Mm.
I long for the space when there's not so much going on inside my body and inside my head. I long for that space where I am free,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have a sense of freedom because I don't feel I'm not at that place of surrender yet. I'm
Mm.
searching for that.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, For me, well, the surrender actually came to me. It wasn't something that I volunteered.
Mhm. Mhm.
I got beat up enough times that I was like, okay, okay,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
supposed to surrender because I've tried everything I can, right?
Mhm.
And it just comes from the fear of the ego, because the ego wants to be able to be in control of everything. And it
Yes.
says, if I surrender, then I'm not going to be in control.
Right.
And I'm made to be in control, so I can't surrender, you know? Um, but I think it's trust. It
That
really
part
comes
about
down,
trusting yourself.
yeah, it
Yeah.
really comes down to trust. Um, and trust in your vision for that life that you feel like it's just there. Maybe it's an intangible. You don't even have words for it. You don't have a vision for it, but you know that there is a place where there is more karma bucket, because
Yeah.
right, that's heavy, weighty stuff.
Mhm.
And I didn't just do one thing or two things or three things. I did everything that came up that felt like that's what I was supposed to do,
Yeah.
because my ultimate was to be healed
Yes.
and to discover who I was. And so I trusted myself to guide me to that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's the message, because I thought to myself, how would there's no way, there's no recipe for what I did other than to trust myself, right? There isn't click your heels, snap your fingers, and do three turns, and that works for everybody. Each person's path is different.
Mhm.
Each person's readiness for the next thing is different, you know? And
Mhm.
so trust yourself. If healing is what you desire, trust yourself when things come up and you go, oh, that might just be interesting. And there have been times that I've done and gone and studied with someone for a while, and it really wasn't all that. But what it did is my willingness to go to that one person led me to the next thing.
Yes.
If I
Yes.
didn't take off, if I didn't take off and do the first step, I
Yes.
wouldn't have gotten the instructions for the next one after that, and the next one after that.
Mhm.
So don't look for every step to be that big aha. It
Mhm.
may not be. It
Mhm.
may just be a test of your listening and your willingness
Mhm.
to follow that guidance,
Mhm.
right?
Trust the journey. Trust the
Yes,
journey.
yes, yes.
HMB says heart chakra, throat chakra activated. This vibration is opening new corridors to discover. Thank you, Mar.
Hmm. So my drum wants to be played.
Oh,
Yes, my
yes,
drum wants to be played. There we
yes.
go. Yes.
Hmm. I'm with you, Mimi. I feel so relaxed.
Ah, good.
Mm. Mm. Yes. Alicia says, thank you. Um, Marilyn is telling them about the links. Okay, beautiful. Marissa says this is so special to witness. Kim says, I just feel community right now. So grateful to
Oh.
you all. Prophet Mother says, I love that bell. Kim says, wow, amazing. My sisters, it is time to expand in creativity and abundance and enlightenment and health and travel and serenity. It's time to gather all your stuff to you, all the
Yes.
things that you have lost. Every time you've been passed over, kicked to the curb, pushed aside, insulted,
Mm.
it's all being rectified to you. This is a moment when spiritually these things are available to you.
Mm.
Climb out of your physical being and occupy spiritual space for a moment.
Mm.
Spirituality is an integral part of healing and growth. At some point, you have to reconcile with it, no matter how much you try to avoid it with
Yes.
happiness and the pursuit
Yes.
of pleasure.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. To have a full experience
to have a full
as a human being, you have to tap into your spiritual energy.
yes.
It's incomplete. The story is
It's
incomplete.
incomplete. It's incomplete. Yeah, that's where you came from, and that's where you have to return.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, at the end, life has no real meaning outside of the spiritual realm, you guys. Listen to
Mm.
me. These
Mm.
things that we amass are all meaningless when all is said and done, but our spirit doesn't pass away. And so it's what sustains us in this experience of humanity.
Mm.
And Mar has traveled the journey to bring you this moment, sister. She went through all she went through so that you could have this blessed, ordained, fertile ground to expand in awareness of who and all that you are and can have in this living experience. Could it be that you too are being called to surrender? And what would that look like for you? Kim says, I don't want to leave you ladies. Oh, Kim, you can connect with here. You can connect with Mar at 60 Solo Black Mystic Traveler, right on IG and on her channel. And of course, you if you're not subscribed to the Big Up Yourself show, please subscribe. We have
Yes. Please subscribe.
Please
Yes.
subscribe. There's so much more
Yes.
coming, you guys. And
Yes.
let me take this moment to offer you my venting sessions where you can talk about the significance of this moment for you and whether you're being called to go deeper to discover who you really are and what you're doing here, why you have been chosen for the journey that you're on, and what you're supposed
Mm.
to learn and teach from it. The link
Mm.
to my venting sessions is in the description box. Perhaps you want to share your story of what happened to you and what part still hurts you. Maybe you
Mm.
want to share a secret you've kept too long. Book a session with an empathetic listener. That's me, your big sister. Also, please follow me on IG, guys. I am Winsome Living on IG. Winsome Living on IG. And I'd appreciate your support over there as well. And guys, the support group is coming. Our Zoom support group is coming. It is being created as we speak. We're building a community of healers and healing. Now, let me, Mar, as we're getting ready to close, let me read some
Yes.
comments first. And then,
Okay.
um, okay, she said, okay, she don't want to leave these ladies. Uh, Thanks for being a vessel, Mar. Yes, we thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Prophet Mother said, thank you so much for showing up so authentically today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Agent D says, I need this community regularly. Thank you, Winsome. Yes, the support group is coming. It's coming. Alicia says, I feel the call. Thank you both for this. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Good.
Amazing.
Good. Good.
Kim says, already done so. Welcome, Kim. Welcome. Alicia says, thank you, ladies, in the chat. Yes. Thank you guys for participating in the chat. Child Free with Mimi says, this has been beautiful. Thanks, Mar, Winsome, and Marilyn for making this possible. Thanks to all the ladies in the chat for the community that never disappoints. Marisa says, thank you so much. Marilyn is reminding us again to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Wow, she gave the link for the venting session. That's awesome.
Oh, good.
Wow. Alicia says, the way they do us wrong when trying to do black heart hands. Oh my gosh.
I don't
Yeah,
have glasses, so I can't see.
you can't see. I can see. But in closing, I just want to ask you one more thing. What is it that you like to big up yourself for in this season?
Continuing to show up for myself,
Yes.
continuing to trust my journey. That's something that I've been trained in these last 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, is to trust my journey, even when it's uncomfortable, to know that the universe is conspiring for my best, for the best outcome.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you
We thank you for
so much.
all and for inspiring us to reconnect with our divinity. Thank you, Mar, for showing up today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys in the chat. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for community. I love you and thanks for the love. And I will see you in the next episode of the Big Up Yourself show. Bye, guys.
Yes.
Bye, Mar. Hold on for a second.
Bye.
It's the universe conspiring for your best. Yes, it is. Bye, guys.